Hello everybody and welcome back to Painting with a Grumpy Old Man. We've done some really cool paintings over the last few days and so.
So you see here it says Tarver 4113 is live. You click on that.
That is my son.
I'm going to turn your volume down so you don't hear you the whole time.
We've done some really cool paintings over the last few days and so.
So you see here it says Tarver 4113 is live. Click on that.
Alrighty.
There you go, and it's going to show you. And Tarver Superfan is this phone.
Okay.
So you can set it down. Should be able to see if people join or.
Alright. This is my son teaching me how to use the gram, and so we'll see how it comes out. Today I want to paint a landscape. Landscapes are my favorite thing to paint. They are fun and beautiful and whatnot. I'm going to use a very specific tool, 50 cents at your local Dollar General. And since this is Georgia, if you can't find it at Dollar General, then you have to get it at Walmart after you go to the Awful Waffle. That's the Waffle House. So whoever loves the Waffle House, don't get mad at me. I ate there all the time too. So I'm just going to draw out first some generalities. Okay, and this is going to be a Georgia scene. I drive by it every day. And that's going to be my tree line. And then there's going to be another line of folding through the thing. And we have a lot of pastoral scenes out here. And that means there's a lot of grass. Stuff like that. I am going to first put my sky in. Start with a little white up here. You can see I got this nice pink background on here, which is nice. I'm owning the pink. It's okay, people. I'm securing my manhood. Make little X's. This is a little Bob Rossi thing here. Make X's, and as you do this, little things will come out, little clouds and different stuff. A lot of artists love to spend hours on clouds. I love to have the appearance of clouds without actually having to work for it. So there's that. Nice light, some different colors. Work it on out. I'm getting some of this dark black down here, so that's fine. Just make us a nice blue sky. I use a lot of impressionism in my work, but sometimes I like to have a flat element to kind of rest your eye. And today I'm going to have the light coming from a different direction than I normally do. Out of it. And a lot of times this is how I'll make my clouds. If I don't like them, I just swipe them out. Nice and light. I don't need a whole lot of that there Stalo blue, people, and it is dark. I like the edges and the top to be a little darker than the rest. I don't like to waste paint because I'm very poor. So I'll use this. I hear you like blue in the bottom. Don't worry, it is not going to be water. There's actually not going to be water in this one today. Okay. I'm going to put a big old glob of white right about here. Now I'm going to come back and use my blending brush. If I can find my blending brush. There it is. Blending brushes get a lot of water in them. You rinse them off, you have to really dry them out good. And when you're blending, you want to go from the lighter area out to the darker area. If you go into the darker area and then come in the lighter, then what you're doing is actually, in essence, darkening the light. And we want to actually just spread this out. I just use a corner of the brush here. I don't need a white today. I just need a sort of a lighter color. I pass this field every day on my way to work. And it's one of the most lovely things. Georgia is very gorgeous, people, and it has a lot of very beautiful scenery in it. Now I'm going to smooth out the white a little bit more, but you notice that I have blue in my brush. Okay, so since I have blue in my brush, I'm going to rinse it out. I always have 2 things of water to rinse it out. Welcome to my friends. Bartholomew Carmona. Hello, how are you doing? Veronica, how are you doing? It's good to see you here. Hope you guys enjoy this Painting with a Grumpy Old Man session. I enjoy painting it. And this is a rare type of painting you'll see from me. It's very rare that I will actually paint a regular. It's still impressionist. It'll still be impressionist when I'm done, but it's sort of a smoother, nicer impressionism. Going back with my brush down, just circles, just little circles, just little circles. Lightening the sky up, lightening the sky up. Yeah, that's what they could. I don't want too dark. And that phthalo blue, folks, that is a dark, dark blue. I'm coming through here, and I don't need it to be too fancy today. I'm not all about the perfection today, or any day, because then it's not fun. It's just work. And I come back and take the lines out of it, and I suppose I have my own lines. I'm going to get too hung up on it. I can always touch it up later if I want. Beautiful thing you need to know about art is you don't have to have it perfect the first time through, nor the second time, nor ever, for that matter. But it's a matter of you having fun. And if you're not having fun doing this, don't do it. That doesn't make sense. I mean, if you're a professional artist and you can make tons and tons of money, good, go for it. But if you don't enjoy it and you're not a millionaire artist, then don't do it, man. Just do things for fun, for relaxation. Now, I'm looking through all my stuff here, so you probably wondering what's the crazy old man doing. I am actually looking for different brushes and where they are. And because I'm old, I often can't find anything. But that's okay. Here's a brush. This one's an old yucky brush, and it's kind of There's a slight lag in your comments and my answers because I have a slight lag. I work off of 2 different phones, and so let's see if those there. I work off of 2 different phones. Therefore, I don't, generally speaking, I'm leaning over. I'm not trying to have you see my pretty face, although that's a bonus for you. I'm just actually looking for my fan brush, which seems to have disappeared into the jumble, which is my art life. Okay, fine, I'll do it without it. Okay, let's put these right here. Whatever that was. Going down, people. Oh, I might not come back up. Oh, help me, Jesus. Oh, there we're gonna be. Don't get disappointed. Really? Hang on, people. I'm dropping stuff. It is so easy when you're young to go up and down, but when you get older, it is not a fun thing. Now, sure, I should have found my fan brush before I came out here. That would have been the professional thing to do. However, As you may have noticed, I'm not a professional. No. You know what? I'm going to go without it. Because I just don't need it. Alright, folks. Going a different direction here. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting in some darker colors. Dark blue blacks. Put a little brown in it. Mix that up a little bit. I'm going to start with a little ridge line out here. This is just an old 8-up brush, and sometimes those make the nicest little things. And you can see little trees and stuff starting to form out here. Like a little forest, because in this place I go by every day, there is a lot of trees. I mean, there are lots of them. And so, mostly today we're just going to paint a bunch of trees. But I like to have the dark first, because the dark gives me something to put the light on. Let me see. I didn't have to do anything fancy. I just blotched and blopped, which most of Impressionism is exactly that. And I'm going insane today. I use my fan brush a lot, and so if I don't have my fan brush, I'm not a happy camper. Okay, so I'm going to come on up here. I like to get if I use the dark colors, I like to get them very, very wet, because it's easier to go over wet paint with more wet paint. I'm going to bring this on in here. They're not perfect, Mike. I know they're not perfect, folks. You know what? Nature's not perfect. Okay. These will be a little bit brighter, a little bit more in the forefront. And down here I'll have some even larger trees. This will be completely grass through here, because it's a very pastoral scene. And you'll see that we moved them back, and since this is Georgia, we have more than just pine trees. We're going to draw me some things. I'll come back, because this is acrylic, it'll dry really fast. And so, black on there, make it count. Okay. And we're going to start right here. Alright. Alright, now let's start looking for this guy. I'm not using a lot of different brushes today. Sometimes I'll use 10 different brushes. Today I'm not. I'm gonna use sort of the same brush for a lot of different reasons. So. And it's not a pine tree, but it looks like one. Come back over my darker colors with some of the lighter lime greens. It will still be dark back here in the back, because it is actually in the back. And we're not worried about seeing too much of this tree here. And I like to get a few yellows in the background, because you lose the yellows in nature as you get closer to. You see the blues and the greens more, and just nice little blotches there. Okay, and that's beautiful. It's beautiful to me. It gives me a nice little tree line out in the back of where I see. I'm usually driving in this area here and going past this and looking at the rolling hills and stuff, which are just absolutely gorgeous. Sometimes, because I'm not a very good driver, hey, I will kind of swerve around a bit. My wife gets mad at me. That's swerving. Well, probably would quit swerving if I actually quit looking at things. So, loops in there. And I know it's hard to see on the screen. I'm not trying to make a perfect painting of a tree. I'm just making trees. And I like to leave the back. And a lot of times you'll see that some of the pink will shine through too that I do as a background. I use it because it's comparatively neutral, but it gives me what I'm looking for. Make this tree a little lighter so it pops out a little bit. I think I need a little bit more green in the green. Okay. Well, that's an epic fail. Okay, let's come back with something else. Let's add the blue to the yellow over here. I'll get this nice and thick on that thing. And this is going to be, this is a grassy field here, and I'm not going to take a lot of time to make this perfect the first time through, but I will come back and add a little detail to it. Don't need a lot of detail, but I will add a little detail to it. But pretty much this grass that you see here is in the it's coming off the forest. It's a little darker around the edge of that forest. And basically what I'm doing is filling in color here. I'm going to make this a beautiful little thing, and I'll do it in a totally different manner. So come a little closer, I'll put a little bit of yellow splotches in there. But when I start on the next section, I'm going to actually darken that considerably right here. So you're going to see separation in the grasses and stuff right there. Now it'll lighten up. The reason I'm doing this is so that when you actually look at this painting hanging on the wall, it'll actually feel like the painting is actually, the heels are actually rolling. Okay, and I'll do similar down here, but just not as much. Yes. My wife and I went out today. We don't like to do that, we're old. We do it because WebMD says you need to get moving if you're old. So we went out and I moved and my wife sat in the car. That's her moving. She turned the steering wheel, ergo moving. So we we went out and I went to Hobby Lobby today. Get some Hobby Lobby stuff going on there. This has a little red in it here. I like to change the tones and colors of things as I go through because I think that nature does that. It gives you different tones and different colors. And this is just an old rough brush. You can do this with any brush. Use a regular painter's brush. This is one of my favorites. It's an old crusty brush. I can do the same thing with it. And it's actually really beautiful. Makes beautiful grass. But I'm not using that today. Okay, so I'm going to put that away for a second there. And I'm going to take up another highly expensive 25-cent brush from Dollar General. The place in the South where you can get everything. And I'm just going to make a little red tree right here. Why? Because I want to. I like color, so we'll put some color there. Now we have a little red tree in the background there. I don't want to get too detailed with it. Get a little bit of light on this side. Because you'll see a lot of maples and all kinds of different things here in Georgia. So we get that nice little thing there. I think that I am going to take, look what I found. Okay, we'll come back to you later, pal. All right. It was there the whole time, but you're old. So I'm going to go get one of my small flat brushes here. They're really good. But anyway, we went out to Michael's today and we had some fun. Yeah. Me and my wife. We may get old, but love doesn't. All right, so. You can do different things with your paint. Get a little darker in here. Get some nice textures going. And I think this bad boy is going to be more dark. Yeah, nice dark green here. Not looking for perfection, just looking for purity. Now, I will go back to my fan brush that I've been looking for 4 hours and still can't find it. There it is. Okay. Wipe it down. Now this is fun, but anyway, we went out. I stopped in the middle of the story. Sorry, folks. Hey, thank you, Mary Jo and Jay Wagner Bloom, Joanne, Mike. Hey, good to hear from you guys. Good to hear from you. If you have anything you want to talk about, let me know. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. Now, I like to use this fan brush. It is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites, and I just, I can do so much with it that it kind of makes me happy. Okay, so I'm going to take my fan brush and I'm going to actually make some highlights out along the edge here. Okay, using a mixture of green and the yellows, maybe sometimes a little red. And I'm just going to pull this out so you know it's a field. It's not. You get a little sparkle here and there. The yellows tend to fade as you get closer in. I like to get a little extra color or light on the top of the trees, but leave this underneath dark because you know it looks dark underneath, right? So, tap some brights in there. Okay, I'm not too worried about those trees. They may, in fact, get covered up later on. But you come in with a little light. Sometimes I like to pull some whites into my greens to lighten them up a little bit. Some lighter greens too. And this, I go back to my usual method. If you've seen me paint before, you know that my usual method is tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Blotch, 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 blotch. Blotch, 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 blotch. Nice grass growing up through here. This is a little bit overstated here, but it's okay to have a little dark section run through here. I don't mind do want to have a slightly darker area right here. Now, I'm not even going to cover everything with this. I'm just going to start working in. You can see it's a little darker here. Right around the edge here. Plants up in there. You get those sometimes in Georgia. It's popping up out of nowhere. These darker colors, so we get a nice roll. Sometimes I like to put like a little dirtier color. We live in a land of clay out here, so okay. We can come in with some lighter greens here. No, whether though, when the grasses and the objects are far, far away, it's not a big deal. You know, it's they don't have to be bright and shiny and sticking out because honestly, they usually aren't. And I'm just trying to blend back some of these colors so I get a nice bright greeny color. And these are still far away, so more an impression than a reality. And I'll come back with a different brush in a little while and fill in some stuff. But this is a morning time. It's how it looks. The sun's barely up. It's not very light. The grass, some of the grass is bright in the back and some of the trees, but for the most part, paint on that one. As I get closer, I sharpen the angle of my brush so that I get more of a blotchy look on it. Yes, we went out today. I went to Michael's. It was a lot of fun. But I'm a dude. Now, I don't know about everybody else who goes shopping, but my wife is always surprised when she sends me to the store and I come back because I don't spend a lot of time there. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't spend a lot of time in the store because I know what I want and I go get it, and then I come back and I find out I forgot something. That's kind of the job. It's interesting, but it's kind of the job. Yeah. Let's come with some orange looking. And I like to rotate colors through because everything is not one color in nature. Maybe these guys have got a little bit of color to them. So more depth, more better. Only thing you don't want to do is make it look unnatural. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here with my other brush, and we'll see that fan brush again later. Don't worry, she's coming back. And we're going to start with some different colors on this side over here. I just like this theme, I don't know why, but I see it every day. Maybe I'm just familiar with it. Let's get that a little bit darker here. And I blend into the old, and the reason I do that is because it makes it look more like it's something that's supposed to be there. And, people are like, why do you do that, Mike? Why do you wipe it up? But no, my wife, she's like, that was fast. Of course, I'm a dude. It says on my man card, thou shalt be fast and don't goof around while you're shopping, because then you'll spend too much money and your wife will go, you don't really need that. Oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And my wife doesn't. My wife is awesome because she'll probably watch it sometimes. She's the best wife ever. No, she is. She is a great wife. But I don't spend a lot of time. I don't want to spend a long time in there, and I want to feel like I want to feel like I did my business and then I got out. Okay. Adding colors. I'm going to darken that up just a little bit. I'm going to make that a little darker green. I went and bought a new palette today. That was awesome because my other one's been used 4 million times, and I'm thinking maybe, yeah, baby, you got plenty in there. I like to be random because nature is random. Sunlight dappling off everything there. Now I thought about adding a little shed. We see a lot of them in Georgia, little corn shacks they call them. People dry their meats and do different things. They'll dry their smoke their meat or dry their meat, and little wooden shacks everywhere. And they're really cool looking. And I enjoy watching them. Right now, I'm just trying to get sort of a grassy color on here. I'll go back. Don't worry, there will be more detail. But I was going to put it like a little shack over here, and then I decided, you know what? That field doesn't actually have a shack in it. This is a blue I'm putting away now. Yep. But yeah, I hate shopping. I mean, I would rather be beat. I mean, it's got a whole thing wrong with shopping. I mean, let's just start with the obvious. I mean, first you gotta find someplace to park, right? And I'm always behind Grandma Jones. Sorry, Grandma. And I'm asking, where am I going to park? The only open parking spots, as you well know, are handicapped. I have been tempted, but I have not done so. But yes, I have not used the handicapped parking spots. But they're about the only thing that's ever open, and you're like, why? Why can I not find a parking spot? Because you're driving around, you're looking for a spot, and then you get stuck in the middle of one of the driveways because somebody is waiting for another car to pull out. Okay, I get it. If it's like one person with 2 sacks, they're going to be gone in a second. Wait a second, you'll get yourself a good parking spot. But no, they wait for the Swiss Family Robinson or the Partridge Family to to load up their 45 children, and then then after 45 minutes of waiting for them, then they finally pull in, and those 2 parking spots next to them, you guessed it, already taken. So, not a fan of getting there. By the time you do find someplace to park, it's way out in a different universe in the corner of the parking lot. It doesn't even show up on Google Maps. I mean, the thing is just so stinking far away. So I go in there, and this happened to me last year once. My wife sent me to get one of her items. I guess I would say one of her items. And she gave me instructions. It's this type and that type, and extra long overnight, hypotenusa 3, purple package, third shelf in the fourth dimension. You know, that kind of crap. I mean, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to remember this. Even if she writes this down, I won't be able to decipher it. And so, you know, it's just really depressing. Okay. So let's tap a couple of these bad boys in here. This area here is not making me happy, so I'm going to take a little bit of this. And maybe right in here. A little blues. There's a little bushes back there, and you do a little bing, bang. Okay. Bing. Get sparkly. Okay, so we get a little closer and closer. It gets darker, and that's kind of the way the world works. You get the darker greens as you come in closer. Almost blue look like. Let's scoop up more of this yellow. And I'll use just taps of it. You know, I'm not trying to. I'm not sitting here making the Van Gogh. I'm not making the Van Stop either. That was terrible. All right, so anyway, so I go in there. I'm trying to get my wife stuff. I'm trying to be a good husband. And I swear to you, I find the aisle where all the, you know, thingies are. And and so I'm scared at this point. And I look at the aisle, and I'm looking and looking, trying to find what she asked me to get, right? And I'm like, at this point, I start to actually kind of go numb. I'm kind of numb in my soul at this point because I'm just afraid one of the boys from the disc golf course are going to walk in and say, hey, what you doing, Mike? And I'm like, I don't want to tell you. And so I'm getting pretty scared at this point. Let's add a little bit more green through here. Maybe drop yellows. And I'm just tapping until I can't tap no more. And anyway, so I look and I'm looking everything, and supernaturally, the dadgum aisle starts to extend like into forever. And I'm like, oh no. You know, and it's like, I didn't even know if I could get off that aisle. And so I'm like, but I love my wife, so I search and search and search, and I'm having a hard time, right? And so then an older lady comes up, which I'm not against old people, I happen to be one of them. But an older lady comes up and she's like, can I help you, sweetie? Because Georgia women's is sweet, right? And so she's like, can I help you? And I'm like, oh, Lord God, thank you, Grandma. Nothing more wonderful than being embarrassed by a grandmother in the feminine care aisle. That's what I was looking for. And so, you know, and I told her, you know, this is what I'm looking for. And she goes, it's right there. And I'm like, okay, doesn't sound like what my wife asked me for. So I'm not even sure if I paid for this item. I mean, I was so embarrassed that I just kind of, grabbed it and went. I think I went through the checkout line. I'm hoping that I did. So if you're at that store and you remember that I didn't pay for something, please remind me. I do want to pay for it. But I was, you know, but I got it. I had the thing in my possession, right? It was in my possession. I had done the utmost for my wife. I'm putting a rock in here in case you're wondering. I had done just what my wife had asked me to do, and I was really proud of myself, and I'm like, yeah, baby, look at this. So I drive home. I'm excited because I finally accomplished something my wife would be proud of me for. And I went inside the house and handed it to her, and she goes, "Oh, these are the wrong ones." So I just kind of wept at that point and went and see a counselor, and everything's better now. Don't worry, I am much better now. But that was harrowing. So if you're a guy and you've had to do this, you deserve all the praise in the world. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is make some trees while this is drying a little bit. I'll make some trees, some pine trees. I'm coming way up here, and I'm going to draw a straight line right down to the bottom. Okay. Grass here. And all you really do for this, and this is one of Bob Ross's tricks, but painters have been using it for centuries. You just kind of tap the corner of your brush as you go down. Nice dark color. You can use purple, or dark blue is very good color to use on this because it kind of goes with the greens and the yellows and stuff. But you got to be careful because it gets a little muddy when you do this. Okay, and then I'm going to do pretty much the same thing on the other side because there's a tree that's about right here on that drive home. This side's a little bit drier, so it might be a little bit easier. Get some water into this black to loosen it up, make it more like ink. As you can see, it sticks better right there when it's loosened up. Bring it out further. I'm going to let it dry for a minute over there, just like I said I was going to do, but did not do. And then we're not looking for perfection. If you go out in nature somewhere and you find me perfection, give me a call, because I've never seen perfection in nature, and that's pretty much the way it is. God did not use a protractor. And so, hope everybody's doing good. Let's see who's visiting us here. Zignalis, welcome. Mustafa, hey, Lion King. Studio Shore, Yasmin Art. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys can enjoy the conversation and stuff, but God only made one perfect thing, and it wasn't me. Okay, so now we here have these trees. Now these trees are going to be quite a bit lighter because they won't be lighter, they'll be more recognizable. And what they do is they push the rest of the landscape back. When you have big trees up front, they push the rest of the landscape back. It's hot in my my studio / garage today, and I'm sweating, but anything for the art, right? Okay, so I'm going to take, if I can find, excuse me, my high cost palette knife here, and give a little detail to the rock here. Let's start on the edge and just drag it. It doesn't have to be perfect, just drag it. So it like leaves little gaps and stuff. So, I like that. That looks nice. Okay. And I will go back with my other brushes. I'm going to add a little red to the landscape, like little flowers that we have a lot of times here in Georgia. I'm going to make them a lighter red than the one I got here. So it kind of pop off. I love these little red flowers. We have red bushes too, and they're just gorgeous. They don't have to look like anything. I mean, they're flowers. At the bottom, maybe I'll have some that come up like this. Kind of give it a little flare. Probably won't see that when I'm done, but just a little splotches of red and some pinkish white. Here. Maybe some over here. I like to have the colors. Taste the rainbow. Maybe a little bright whiter. Right there. Let's add some little rocks in the background. Nice little gray colors. Always got little rocks around. In Georgia, we have a lot of quartz. Get too much on that one. Nothing perfect, but just kind of a nice looking field view there of the Georgia farmstead. Maybe more flowers in this than I actually saw, but hey, I'm the artist and I can do whatever I want. Okay, I'm going to go back with some yellows. I use a lot of yellows, as you may have noticed. But I did it because they make green when you mix them with black. And so, come back in here and make this a sort of a bright green here. Now I want that a little greener. A little less yellow. These aren't overly particularly clear, but I don't really care how clear they are. Just a little thought of something there. And I'm just blotching her on. And you see it's turned this tree sort of a green color with all the black and stuff underneath it. So this didn't have to be thing. I try not to cover up all the dark because if I do, then I'll lose the shadow effect. Thousands of little splotches here. Okay. And then I'm going to go back over it with an even lighter color. Let's mix a little white into the green and yellow and get this nice, sort of a sage colored. Green with yellow. Keep all the sort of a sagey. It doesn't have to be too pronounced. I know there's a tree there. And we're going to make this tree just a little brighter. We don't generally have yellow trees that look like pine trees, but we can do whatever we want in our world. like I say, you won't see me paint too many people. And I do that purposely because I like to draw places I want to be. And I don't want anybody there when I get there. Is that terrible? Is that selfish? A little more yellowish green here. Just tapping it really lightly right now. Let's just fading this puppy into the landscape. Because when you drive by it, it really looks like a big swath of green and yellow. And it's beautiful. A little grass in there. So we have a couple trees in the background and stuff. And when I get to the very bottom, I like to do darker grasses. So I'll actually sometimes just come with the darker green here and the yellow. Blue and the yellow, come into this, and I'll just throw some long blades of grass in here. Hard to see on the camera, but it really allows you to take your eye upward. Okay. Not a perfect landscape, but it's a pretty one. Can everybody see that? Well, I certainly hope so. I think I'm going to close it off there today. It's just a plain old Georgia field with the trees in the background, and leaves and flowers and whatnot. So I think that's a pretty one. I didn't have to spend a whole lot of time doing it. But I really thank everybody who joined today, everybody who took a moment to look at my trees and my stuff. And I really enjoy hanging out with you guys. Dice Matrix, hey E, what's up, my brother? Hey, thanks for needs more cowbell. Not my favorite plant, but I love you, brother. I'm glad you joined. That's awesome. Adrian, thank you for joining. Jumalt, thank you for joining. We have so many people visit today, E, you'd be surprised. But down to just you and me, brother. But this is going to be the end of today's painting. Come back and join me again on Grumpy Old Man. And remember, until I see you next time, I need you to remember one thing. Get off my lawn.